Hello dreamers, Eugene the author here, and welcome to an Aria of Words with Eugene the author. So today's question is, did you always want to be a writer? And believe it or not, no I did not. So I know that sounds contradictory to what I've said in other videos, but let me rephrase that. I never wanted being a writer to be like my main thing. I actually wanted to be a game designer. And actually maybe I won't say I never wanted to, because I was introduced to storytelling before I was introduced to video games. I don't know how old I was when I had my first game system. I remember being like very little, probably too small to form words, and my dad like holding me up to arcade machines and I'm just slapping the buttons. Distinctly kind of my first gaming memories are my cousin Marcus worked at this, was it a rec center? He worked somewhere and somebody had left a Game Boy there. Somebody in passing left a Game Boy there, and it had been there for like 3 months, very heavily like, hey, is this yours, is this yours, is this yours? And it had been there for like 3 months and nobody claimed it. And so he got to bring it home and he gave it to me. And I had Mario Land, and I had this import game. I can never remember the name of the game, but it was like this game where you would pick these units, these that were based on like Eastern mythology, and it was like a scrolling shoot 'em up, and then the units could like all combine to form like this superhuman being that could like wipe the screen of enemies, and then you'd like buy upgrades and replenish your units in between stages. So I had that, I had Mario Land, I had Pit Fighter, I had Atomic Punk, which was like the first Bomberman game on the Game Boy, I think. And then I remember like an NES with like this add-on to play like the lost levels of Mario. But anyways, I wanted to be a game designer originally. And so I actually I started teaching myself how to code, I started teaching myself scripting languages, and I started teaching myself how to do like pixel art and everything. But as time went on, right, like all of my computers, like I would go to garage sales, I would go to the library and I would just pore over these resource manuals. I would just pore over book after book after book, just reading code and reading everything I could about how computers work. That's actually how I got started working in computers, was that I just poring over all these technical manuals. Like anywhere that we went, if there was anybody who worked in computers, I would ask them every question under the sun about, what do you do? What's it like? How do you do it? How do I get started? What do I need to learn? And I was blessed to have people that they recognized I wasn't just, some kid asking me, why, but I genuinely had an interest and I wanted to pursue this. And so I was lucky to have, blessed to have some people that were like, hey, this is what you want to learn. And so everything I know about computers was independent study. So I did all of that. And I wanted to be a game designer, and my computers, we'd go to garage sales and I would just get a bunch of broken computers, I'd mow some lawns, do my chores, and I'd get these broken computers and I would take them apart and put them back together and make a working computer out of it. And my aunt had gotten me like a little VTech computer that I was able to do coding on also, a little VTech laptop that I learned you could actually rewrite the cartridges and make your own games and everything. And so I was set on being a game designer. That's what I wanted to do more than anything. And I wanted to bring something more. Now we have all these narrative-driven experiences, but that wasn't really a thing back when I was growing up. That was the niche, not the norm. And so I wanted to really bring those character-driven narratives to video games. And I love the concept of choose your own adventure stories, and so I wanted to bring those to the table as well. But at a certain point, I kind of had this realization where it was like, I really love doing this, but I don't have access to the technologies and the software that I need to be able to do this. And this is a very time-consuming endeavor to do on my own. And I had a lot going on. And so that wasn't really something that I felt like I had the time or the help to be able to do. So I got to thinking, okay, well, if I can't be a game designer, then what can I do? What's something that I can do by myself? And that's when I settled on being a writer. I was like, you know what? I need help to make a video game that I'm proud of, but I can write a book by myself. I don't really need help to do that. And so I kind of pivoted and I changed focus and started focusing more on being a writer. And that just really took off. My passion for writing just was boom. There's literally never a time that I'm not thinking about a story. I'm thinking about 5 stories right now There's never a time that I'm not thinking about a story, that I'm not thinking about the characters, the narrative, the experiences. And so I'm very glad that I got into writing, and I'm glad that I was encouraged to continue pursuing writing because it's become such a tremendous love and joy for me. Now, am I still going to get into game design? Absolutely. I have some plans to maybe start designing a pretty significant RPG next year. There's a few different games I want to make. There's a lot of really cool projects I want to do, but now, I can't imagine writing ever not being a part of my life. There's never going to be a time that I'm not a writer. That is a passion that is intrinsically part of my core spiritual DNA, and it's never going away. So I have not always wanted to be a writer, but I am so glad that I made the decision to be one. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is a great way to let the algorithm know that you like this kind of content and want to see more of it. And subscribing is a great way to keep up to date on what I'm going to post next. As always, if you have anything you'd like for me to talk about, any thoughts, any questions, anything on your mind about the world of being an artist in any capacity. I'm a novelist, I'm a screenwriter, I'm a musician, I'm dabbling in game design again, then do feel free to drop it in the comment section and we'll talk about it. As well as if there are any games, movies, shows, whatever that you'd like me to cover on a deeper level, diving into what makes them work, what doesn't, what lands, what doesn't, the symbology, the meaning, etc., then drop that in the comment section as well. As always, this is Eugene, the author, saying, you're awesome, be amazing, you already are. Take care, dreamers.